We stand as one, walk with thousands.
Is that super close up?
What? Right.
How's it going? So we're a men's mental health brand. So we have a podcast and social media where we talk about all the different mental health struggles and everything that we go through, and just ending the stigma behind talking about it.
That's awesome.
So me and then my buddy over there, we do it together, and just stepping out. And it's easy to listen to a podcast, but when you talk about it in person, it makes it a little bit more real. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Oh, hey.
I just dropped off my psychology magazine today to the people in Athleta because it was all on dating, how hard dating issues have become now because of all of the thought patterns and the changes and everything that's around.
Yeah.
And I dropped it off there. And I'll pick it up again, drop it off at State and Liberty.
Yeah. Impact. You're having an impact.
That's you try to do that because there are a lot of changes and you want people to feel good about themselves.
Yes.
We're doing a YouTube channel and we have a podcast for men's mental health.
Oh, wow.
And so it's May's Mental Health Month
I had no idea.
and awareness. And so we just kind of want to bring it out and see if you guys want to talk about it, what you might be struggling with, what you're grateful for, what you love, how we can help.
Sure. I work for PBS Utah, so I'm
Oh, you do?
putting cameras in people's faces. So.
Oh, what do you do there?
So I'm a producer, so
Oh, wow.
no, it's not a
Hey,
very
feel free to have us on anytime.
Okay.
What mental health means to you, and
That's great.
if there's something we can do for you.
So I don't think I need particular help at this time because I feel really, like you said, blessed in the sense that I've gone through depression and struggles and I have anxiety but I've also, I'm incredibly fortunate that I have resources.
Yeah.
And that's key. So I just want to support what you're doing because I think there's a great organization called NAMI, right?
NAMI, yeah.
Yeah, and they've done a lot over decades to try and kind of normalize the fact that we all struggle, whether
Everyone
with
does.
severe or more, different forms of mental illness and health.
How long have you been working here?
I've been working here for about a month now.
Yeah?
I used to work at a psychiatric hospital.
No way.
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
I was doing security.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've seen all kinds of stuff there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you see like the reality of the everyday average people can.
It's people from all walks of life, people with a lot of money, people with who are homeless that have mental health issues, that are struggling with addiction,
Yeah.
everything.
For some reason, I thought you were a cop.
No. So I've been in protective services for over 10 years.
Awesome. So, so you were talking about spirituality
Yeah,
and
so
mental health.
right now, I met a guy, I call him Jesus, and he was saying how he was speaking with a therapist, and the therapist really couldn't give him any advice because she didn't come from a spiritual background, and how that what he's dealing with is more spiritual than logic would kind of give an answer to.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Brinley.
Brinley?
Harley.
Harley. You guys have a second to chat?
Yeah.
Can I give you that? It's a mic. I mean, you got to give it back when you're done.
Oh, hey.
So when I say mental health, what sticks out? What comes to mind?
Suicidal awareness.
Yeah? What does that mean to you guys?
I have a lot of history with it, with mental health. Like when I hear that word, it reminds me of my past.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot.
When you're relying on other people's belief on yourself, what is that called?
Kind of like codependence.
Codependency. That's exactly.
Yeah.
They have some codependency classes because I suffer from that.
Yeah,
And,
it's very common.
so
yeah.
I struggle really hard, and I'm like, but you're a people pleaser because of it, and all that kind of stuff. And I suffer, and I'm like, and sometimes people, if they don't like me, I'm like, what did I do? And it hits.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And I think just because I'm 62, I've done a lot.
You're 62.
I'm 62.
You look like you're my age.
So, how old are you?
45.
Oh, I love you. So you're great. But no, I mean, I think that's part of like as you age, you really learn who you are, and you learn kind of your shtick, and you kind of learn to cope over the decades. I think in my 40s, that was probably where I was. I think I struggled the most in my 20s. That was
really?
Hell. I mean, because I had anxiety and I didn't understand it. I had depression, didn't understand it, and I probably should have been on medication, but back then they didn't really put that out as an option too often.
Well, and it wasn't prevalent.
It was, right? And
Like,
so
and a lot of times it's like, just shut up, just walk it off. You know what I mean? Like I play
Yeah.
football and you can't say anything.
Do you mind? We've been having people write down different 1 or 2 words that has to do with their mental health and how they're feeling today or how they felt in the past. Do you mind adding to our list?
And good cursive.
Do something nice. I love that. Good cursive, very good cursive, 100%.
There you go.
Connie, thank you.
Okay.
It was such a pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Now, another thing is, at 79, there's no hand strength left. It pretty much goes.
Yeah.
You need a guy to just open the tops of the peanut butter.
Anytime you need your peanut butter open, come find me.
I will. Thank you so much.
I want a cheeseburger.
So I kind of spoke to him and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of, therapists that holds a PhD in psychology or some kind of mental health, and they don't really turn to God for certain answers. They spend 4 to 8 years in education but never pick up the Bible, because most people are picking up the Bible nowadays to find answers that the world cannot offer answers to. So when we pick up the Bible, there are certain laws and certain precepts that they follow in order to receive an answer from God pertaining to many people go through these mental health issues because of financial situation,
They seek divine help.
relationship problems, just basic communication. And a therapist cannot really offer the answer. They can only give what is logic and what is written on paper as far as doctrine or education. But I think there's something serious when it comes down to spiritual answers.
For me, it is this kind of grief about my old self, but it makes me hopeful in the end that you're still, we're all still here.
Yeah.
I feel similar. I guess with my mental health, the same thing. I missed out on a lot of my youth, my very early childhood years, and I'm happy that I've just barely started getting better, and I'm so happy I still stayed and kept trying.
100%.
Yeah.
I wasn't even encouraged to show my emotion and my feelings, but men, it was mostly my family, but men back then especially, forget it. You had to be tough, right? And so I think as a society, we look at things like mental health or mental illness as a moral failing instead of just, an illness that we struggle with. Yeah. And so it's been great to see that slowly changing.
The stigma isn't there anymore. Everyone understands that we need help, but sometimes, especially people like me, that we still suffer in silence. Sometimes I have a hard time still talking to my wife because I don't want to burden her. And then I think I'm like, Tyson, you talk about this all the time. You know what I mean? And then I say to myself, man up and talk to her. Tell her about what you're feeling. Yeah. Because to me, that's what a man should do. Is they should tell others how they're feeling and how to be better and all that kind of stuff. So.
I think that's so perfect.
You guys feel like the awareness and the stigma is getting better? Because I feel like it's starting to, it's more easily talked about and not as much in the shadows, or what do you think?
I feel like it's more easily talked about, but not as seriously taken.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
I agree with you. But
run on that one for a minute with me.
There's, especially with men's mental health, it is kind of, I feel seen as a joke sometimes.
Sure.
But maybe not. I'm not a man, but
well, no, but your perspective 100% matters because men's mental health is perceived one way by men, right? And then one way by, a completely different class of people or even women. So when I say men's mental health, what does it mean to you?
It means that men struggle with the idea that they can't speak up about mental health, and because it's just not normalized to talk about your feelings for men. So
because one thing we say is that men have a lot of space in this world, but they don't have a lot of healthy space.
I'm a Christian, and I truly, I believe that there is a God and that Christ came and died for us and all that. And I believe that. But I take therapy. I have therapy sessions every week. And one thing that I've noticed, there is similarities between both. One is going to be, you have God and He gives you hope, but He gives you commandments to live, and He gives you, and if you live these, you'll be blessed and that type of thing. But what I really am finding out for me as I do therapy, which is more secular, and then I also believe in and I have my faith, I go to church on a regular basis, I'm learning that there's a lot of connection of self-manifestation, meaning if I believe this, it will happen. And if I believe this, I'm going to change the way, my point of view, I'm going to change the way I act and behave. And because I believe that, then it's going to happen. That's what self-manifestation is to me. And so it's kind of like religion is like, I'm believing in God, which I do.
Abandoned, stressed, on edge, and then I just had Connie with do something nice for someone. So if you don't mind sharing something like that, or if there's any other thoughts you guys wanted to share.
Yeah.
Finally hopeful. Oh, jeez. That's heavy in a really positive way.
It's kind of what I was learning.
I just recently got diagnosed with my chronic illness, and that was doing a lot for my mental health. So I've finally been able to treat it, and it's helped.
So if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to give me details if you don't want. What did the diagnosis mean? Was it answers, or was it more questions, or what was it? Positive, negative?
Neutral, but mostly, honestly, positive for me, because I was in an environment where, since I had past of mental health issues, I was seen as, like, when I was expressing this, it was immediately, you have anxiety, you're anxious all the time. But then I finally started getting in tune with my body, and I started advocating for myself, especially in with doctors.
That's important.
And I'm like, no, my heart rate and these things are actually affecting me. And it's been happening for a long time. And I think if I wasn't so isolated in that feeling growing up, where I couldn't get out of bed and I wasn't listened to, I feel like finally I could have, it is a grief I feel daily.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was listened to, I could have gotten more help and felt better, but.
Well, I think one of the most important things you said was advocating for yourself, because nobody's going to love you like you should be loving yourself. And that's such a taboo thing, because everyone's like, oh, you're conceited or whatever. So thank you both for being brave and coming up and talking about this and being advocates and just being a light in a pretty dark time. So it was a pleasure meeting both of you guys.
Thank you. Here's
I'll take it.
Thank you so much for
Oh,
being out
of
here.
course. Yeah, look us up and then you'll pop up on there at some point.
Thank you
So
so much.
we'll see you.
That's the reason why I'm now out here, because I'm trying to find my aura of spirit, my aura of people, my group of people. You know?
So do you still go to church?
I'm in between churches right now.
Okay, because you said you're a Mormon. I'm like, if you go to the bishop, they have tons of groups out there.
So
if you go to a Catholic, I'm sure they have it, and I'm sure there's other religions that will have different types of groups to help you.
Yeah. So I currently attend a young single adult ward in Magna.
Okay.
And that ward I enjoy because there's people my age where we can meet up on certain days and have certain outings and stuff like that. And that kind of keeps me in the realm of this life.
Yeah. So what we're asking anyone that we talk to is just like write something that either will help someone or something that you might be struggling with. Just something that comes to mind about mental health when you're right there.
Okay.
Share and listen. Ooh, that's powerful. We 100% are.
Yeah. So it is really cliche, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, Nancy, thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you so much for stopping. We thought about standing together. I'm like, that might be too much.
That might be too much. No. But you don't look intimidating.
I appreciate that.
Inviting.
Oh, hey. Do you want to write something down? Something that either you're struggling with or something that you could say that would bless someone's life if they read it?
Yeah, let me see.
Ooh, I love that. God is love.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
So now that we have talked to several people, what is your takeaway with this?
I think more people wanted to talk than did. I think you can see it in some people's faces.
They were just scared.
Yeah,
I
mean,
get that.
I think more people wanted to talk about it, but that's the stigma and everything in action. So,
Well, just like I was talking to him just before, he's like, he wants to find a group so he can talk, but people, they're not going to open up if you're not going to open up. And so you can be that source for someone else. And so I feel like this allows someone to have a voice and be able to listen to. And so I like this. We're going to have to do this multiple times.
I think the funny thing here is you and I have filmed a lot of stuff in public and then gotten very self-conscious about it. This felt more natural.
Yeah, because this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what we love.
So
I asked some bad questions. And I will learn.
Yeah.
I will learn. I thought you wanted to stop me.
Gonna hit you? No,
but definitely growing from this, and I'm grateful for people to come and talk to us. So
Cool.
I've learned a lot.
So,
and we're going to be on PBS.
Yeah, that'd be cool, dude.
That will be.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We're gonna do more of these with the weather getting nice and everything happening with mental health
You know
awareness.
what we need to do in the winter? We need to go up to Park City and go snowboard it and catch people.
Yeah. Go talk about your mental health.
Just-
But no, thanks so much for watching the video, you guys.
Toodles.
and,
I just did a peace sign.
we
I'm,
will,
I'm you, Logan.
Oh, I'm blocking too close. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and we're gonna do more of these.
Toodles.